Filing your taxes by the due date could be a huge mistake. Now, everybody relax. I'm not saying that you shouldn't file your taxes. I'm not saying that you shouldn't put them together as soon as possible. And I'm definitely not saying that you shouldn't pay your taxes on time. I am saying this. There have been a lot of law changes in the past few years, especially around the end of the year and into tax time. And what does that mean for tax practitioners? Oh my gosh, we are pulling our hair out because sometimes we want to file a tax return and the form hasn't even been released or approved yet. If you've had a tax professional do your return in recent years, I'm sure you've heard this more than once. There's a couple forms this year that weren't even ready clear until April. Oh my gosh. Now, another reason that you may want to get your return already as soon as you can in January or in February and then just let it set for a while and maybe even file an extension is IRS, as they're working through these tax law changes, they can find mistakes in the tax form. They can find things that they didn't anticipate. They can go ahead and update the tax form or the tax calculations. It's happened a number of times in the past 5 to 10 years. Sometimes it's really in your best interest to get it all bedded down, kind of let it air out, pay the tax that you think is due, and then file your return with an extension, maybe a little bit later. The more complex your return, the smarter I think that move is. There's other reasons why people use this approach, quantifying their return and putting it together so they know where they stand. But sometimes there are things you can take advantage of, such as a retirement contribution, which if it's the right kind of plan, it can be delayed until the extended due date. So you get the deduction and you can wait to put the money in. It's a technique we sometimes use. And by the way, if you would rush to the races to file your tax return, and if you're using one of the forms, which is there's been some law changes or it's a newer form, and if IRS revises it or corrects the way that you do it, guess what you may have to do in the future? You may have to amend. So in short, the more complicated your return is, the more it would make sense to get it all ready, pay the tax, and maybe extend and wait a minute. If you would like more tips, deeper explanations, or if you have something you'd like to ask about, drop a comment. Give me a like and a share. Love to help you out.